Daniel stepped out of his car and felt the cold bite through his coat before he even shut the door. The wind carried the smell of pine and distant wood smoke. The kind that usually made him feel safe, nostalgic, and ready for the warmth of a Christmas gathering. But tonight, something was different. Something in the air felt heavier, as if the night itself was holding its breath. The house he grew up in stood quietly in front of him, lights glowing softly in the windows, but nothing inside moved. No shadows passing. No voices, no music, no laughter. And that alone made Daniel pause on the driveway longer than he should have. Every year, this house was a loud miracle. His father blasting old songs from a speaker older than Daniel. His mother shouting at everyone to taste her food before it got cold. Kids running from room to room. His siblings arguing playfully about decorations. People he hadn't seen in months hugging him too tightly. But tonight all he saw was stillness. Silent windows. A lonely porch. Snow falling quietly as if it didn't want to disturb anything. He rubbed his hands together, more out of nerves than cold. His mother had been persistent this week, reminding him 3 times to come home for the Christmas Eve party. She never reminded him like that before. She always assumed he'd come. This time she almost sounded anxious, like she needed him there, like something was happening behind the scenes. And for the last 2 days, he had felt a strange tug inside him, some mix of guilt, fear, and longing pulling him toward this house. He took a breath and started walking toward the front door. Boots crunching in the fresh snow. Even that sound felt too loud. When he reached the porch, he touched the railing without thinking. The wood was cold, stiff, familiar. He remembered sanding that railing with his father when he was 13. He remembered the way his father joked that one day Daniel would be the one fixing this house. Now, the idea made him feel sick. He knocked on the door, once, twice. Harder the 3rd time. No answer. His brows tightened. Maybe the party moved somewhere else. But his mother insisted the party would be here, same as always. Daniel tried turning the doorknob, expecting it to be locked. It wasn't. The door pushed open with a soft, slow creak. He frowned deeper. His parents never left the front door unlocked, not even on the safest days. Not even when everyone was home. "Hello?" He called into the dim hallway. No reply. The warm glow from the Christmas tree in the living room cast gentle colors across the walls. But the house didn't feel warm. It felt hollow. He stepped inside cautiously, closing the door behind him, listening to the faint click echo through the silence. The scent of cinnamon and pine reached him a moment later, comforting, familiar but somehow unsettling when the room was empty. He walked forward slowly, scanning the living room. No coats thrown over chairs. No cups on the table. No food waiting in the kitchen doorway. Everything was too neat for a Christmas gathering that was supposed to start an hour ago. Then he saw movement. 3 small shapes on the couch. His nephews, Leo, 12 years old and usually full of sarcastic energy, sat hugging a pillow, eyes red like he'd been holding tears for too long. Aiden, 9, clutched a blanket pulled up to his chin, staring at the floor as if it might explain everything. And little Noanli, 6, looked up at Daniel with a mix of relief and fear. The kind a child shouldn't have to feel. The boys' faces softened when they saw him. And Noah instantly jumped up, stumbling as he ran toward him. "Uncle Dan," he cried in a shaky voice. Daniel crouched down and hugged the boy tight, feeling how cold his small hands were. "Hey, buddy, what's going on? Where is everyone?" he asked gently, glancing up at the other 2 on the couch. Aiden shook his head, voice small. "We don't know. We woke up from our nap and nobody was here." Daniel's stomach dropped. "What do you mean, nobody? Where are your parents? Where's Grandma and Grandpa?" Leo pointed toward the kitchen table, his hand trembling slightly. "Grandma left a note." Daniel felt something twist inside him as he stood up and walked to the table. A small folded paper rested there, placed carefully in the center, as if his mother expected him to notice it the moment he entered. The paper looked simple, but just looking at it made him feel like his heart was cracking. He reached for it slowly, The room stayed painfully quiet behind him. He opened the note with careful fingers. His mother's handwriting spread across the page, soft, familiar loops he had grown up seeing everywhere. Daniel, if you are reading this, something has happened. His breath hitched. His mother would never start a note like that unless it was serious. Unless something had gone wrong. He blinked hard, forcing himself to read the next lines, even though a part of him didn't want to know what they said. Your father and I had to leave suddenly. Please don't panic. We didn't want to scare the boys. We made sure they were safe before we left. Please take care of them until we return. I can't explain everything yet, but I promise we will talk soon. Love, Mom. That was it. No more details. No clue where they went. No reason why they left 3 children alone in the house. He exhaled shakily as he placed the note down. His heart felt like it was pounding too loud for the quiet room. His mother wasn't careless. She wasn't forgetful. And she definitely wasn't someone who would leave 3 kids alone unless something forced her to. Noah tugged his sleeve. Uncle Dan, are Grandma and Grandpa coming back? His small voice cracked at the end. Daniel swallowed hard and forced a steady breath. I don't know, Noah, but I'm here now, okay? I won't leave you. He looked at Leo and Aiden. Both tried to look brave, but there was fear in their eyes. The kind of fear children felt only when the adults they trust disappear without warning. We're going to be fine, Daniel said, though he wasn't sure he believed it. Let's sit together for a moment. They gathered in the living room, the soft glow of the Christmas tree reflecting off their anxious faces. The house felt too big around them, too quiet, too heavy. Daniel asked them what happened before he arrived. The boys explained they were told to take a nap around 4 p.m., and when they woke up, the house was empty. Their parents' cars were gone. Their grandparents' phones were going straight to voicemail. The house was locked but not fully shut down, as if everyone left in a hurry. Daniel nodded slowly, piecing together what little information he had. The feeling in his chest tightened further. Something wasn't right. Something was deeply, painfully wrong. He gave the boys warm drinks and settled them with a movie, trying to distract them while he searched the house. He moved quickly from room to room. Nothing was broken. Nothing seemed disturbed. Every door was closed. Every light turned off except in the living room. It looked normal, but it didn't feel normal. He checked his parents' bedroom bedmade. Nothing missing. His father's coat was gone. His mother's favorite handbag wasn't in the closet. His siblings' things from earlier were nowhere in sight, as if they had all grabbed the essentials and disappeared. Daniel's heart hammered harder with every step he took. His mind spun with questions he couldn't answer. Why leave so suddenly? Why leave the children behind? Why leave a note instead of calling? Why him? Why tonight? He returned to the boys, trying not to show the fear growing inside him. He grabbed his phone and stepped outside on the porch to call his mother. Straight to voicemail. He tried his father. Voicemail again. He tried his sister and his brother. Same result. The cold wind hit his face again, and for the first time that evening, he let the fear settle fully in his chest. It was the kind of fear that whispered that something terrible had happened. Something hidden, something he wasn't ready for. The snow fell steadily, coating the driveway, the trees, the porch steps. Daniel stared at the dark street, wondering where his family could have gone, why they would leave the children behind, and what his mother meant by something has happened. He leaned against the railing, trying to steady himself. Then he heard footsteps in the snow, slow, careful, approaching Daniel's head, snapped up. Someone was walking toward the house, a figure. A woman, her coat long and beige, snowflakes resting gently on her dark hair. She looked nervous, almost hesitant, as she stepped into the light from the porch. When she reached the bottom stair, she spoke softly. Daniel? His breath caught. He didn't recognize her voice. Yes, he answered cautiously. Do I know you? She shook her head. No, but your mother sent me. Everything inside him froze. Her voice trembled slightly as she reached into her coat pocket and pulled out another folded note, same handwriting, same paper, same loops. His heart pounded as she held it out to him. "I was told to give this to you tonight," she said, "and to make sure you weren't alone." Daniel stared at her, at the note, at her eyes full of worry, and for the first time that night, he felt something shift inside him. Something was coming. Something bigger than the empty house. Something bigger than the silence. Something that began with his mother's note and continued with this stranger who knew his name. The night suddenly felt darker, and the truth felt closer than ever. Daniel stood on the porch, the cold sinking deeper into his bones as he stared at the woman holding the second note. Her breath formed small clouds in the air, and her hands trembled slightly, even though she tried to keep them steady. Snowflakes clung to her hair, giving her an almost fragile look, like she didn't belong out in the winter night. But her eyes, soft, warm, scared, held something that made Daniel's chest tighten. He took the note from her slowly, careful not to let their fingers touch more than they had to, though even the slight brush sent a strange warmth through his arm. He didn't understand why, but her presence felt both risky and comforting at the same time. She watched him, waiting for him to read it. Inside, the boys' laughter from the movie drifted faintly through the door. A reminder that he wasn't alone, but also that something was terribly wrong. Daniel unfolded the note. His mother's handwriting again? His heart squeezed painfully in his chest as he read, "Daniel, please trust Amelia. She knows why we had to leave. She will explain once the boys are asleep. Whatever happens tonight, stay with them. You are the only one who can protect them." Amelia? So that was her name. He read the note twice, hoping fresh eyes would reveal some hidden message, some detail, some clue, anything that made sense. But it didn't help. It made everything messier. Why would his mother trust a complete stranger with something like this? Why send her instead of coming herself? Why wasn't she calling? Why wasn't she here? Daniel looked up at Amelia, and her expression told him she wasn't here to hurt him or the boys. She looked like someone who had been carrying a burden for too long. Someone trying to do the right thing while knowing the consequences might be painful. Someone he could maybe trust if he had another choice. "Who are you?" Daniel asked slowly, voice low but steady. Amelia swallowed. "My name is Amelia Reyes. But your mother didn't want me to talk outside. It isn't safe." "Safe from what?" he asked sharply. Her eyes darted to the quiet street, then back to him. "Please, let's go inside. I'll explain once the boys are asleep. Your mother was very clear." Daniel hesitated. He didn't like this. He didn't like strangers appearing on Christmas Eve with cryptic notes. He didn't like the idea of danger he couldn't see. But he also didn't like the idea of standing out in the open with 3 children alone inside the house. He nodded once. "Fine, come in." Amelia stepped inside, brushing snow off her coat. The warmth of the house touched her cheeks, and she let out a quiet breath, almost like relief. She looked around the living room, taking in the Christmas tree, the soft lights, the boys curled under blankets. Her expression shifted gentler, softer, as if something about the scene touched her. "Are they all right?" she asked. Daniel nodded. "Scared, but okay. They don't know anything." "Good," Amelia whispered. "That means your parents got them out before anything started." It's blood-chilled. Before anything started. What did that mean? But before he could ask, Noah spotted Amelia and rushed over, his tired eyes lighting with curiosity. "Who's that?" he asked Daniel. This is Miss Amelia," Daniel said, choosing not to lie, but not ready to explain anything. "She's here to help." Aiden stared at her suspiciously. "Help with what?" Amelia crouched down so she was eye level with the boys, offering a small, gentle smile. "Help make sure you're safe." "That's all." The smile worked a little. The boys relaxed. Children were good at sensing true danger and even more skilled at sensing kindness. Amelia had both fear and kindness in her eyes, but none of it was directed at them. Leo nodded once. "If Uncle Don trusts you, we trust you." Daniel almost winced at that. He didn't trust her, not yet. But he didn't correct them. They didn't need more fear tonight. Eventually. The boys settled back into their movie while Daniel and Amelia sat at the kitchen table. She folded her hands together on the wood surface, eyes down, throat tight as if she was gathering courage for something heavy. Daniel didn't give her time. "Tell me," he said. "Tell me right now what's going on." Amelia shook her head. "Not yet. It's too much for them to hear. And you're not ready." He clenched his jaw. "Don't tell me what I'm ready for. My family is gone, Amelia. Gone without a word except 2 notes that say nothing. So don't give me pieces. Give me the truth." Her eyes lifted to his, and for a moment Daniel saw the weight she carried. It was real, heavy, painful. Her eyes glistened not with tears, but with guilt. "I'm not trying to make this harder for you," Amelia said softly. "But your mother trusted me. If I break her instructions, everything could fall apart." His heart hammered with fear, frustration, and helplessness. He had never felt more in the dark. "Fine," he muttered, rubbing his forehead. "Then tell me this much. Are my parents in danger?" Amelia looked at him for a long moment, then whispered, "Yes." The word hit him like a punch. He leaned back in the chair, breath uneven. "Are my siblings in danger too?" He asked. "Yes." "Are we in danger?" Another pause. Then she nodded. "Yes." Daniel felt something cold spread through his chest, heavier than any winter wind. He stared at the floor, trying to understand how the world had shifted so suddenly. Before he could speak again, Amelia stood. "Let me help the boys to bed. Then we talk." Daniel wanted to argue, but the exhausted look in the boys' eyes stopped him. They had been alone for hours. They deserved to sleep without more fear. So he nodded. Amelia approached the couch softly, her voice gentle as she whispered to the boys. Leo checked the door twice before going upstairs, still anxious. Aiden held Noah's hand tightly. Amelia walked with them, helping them settle under warm blankets, smoothing their hair as if she had known them for years. Daniel watched from the doorway. The boys relaxed around her without hesitation. Something about Amelia felt real, heart deep, pain-worn, safe. When the last bedroom door clicked, she turned back toward him. Her face was pale, her shoulders tight. She looked like someone who had been running from something for a long time. They returned to the kitchen. The house was so quiet now that every breath sounded loud. Amelia sat across from him, folding her hands again like she needed to hold something together. "All right," she whispered. "You deserve answers." Daniel leaned forward. "Start with how you know my mother." Amelia exhaled shakily. "Your mother and I? We've been working together secretly for months." His eyes widened. "Working together on what?" "On protecting your family," she said. Daniel felt heat rush through his chest. "Protecting us from what?" Amelia hesitated. "From someone your parents trusted. Someone who betrayed them. And someone who discovered something they should never have known." He shook his head. "Who? Why would anyone want to hurt us?" Amelia looked at him sadly. "Because your father found something. Something he wasn't supposed to find. And when he realized what it meant, he tried to fix it. But by then, it was too late." Daniel felt dizzy. His father was a simple man, a hard-working man, a man who loved his family more than anything. He wasn't the type to be part of secrets or danger. What did he find? Daniel whispered that Amelia didn't answer right away. Her eyes darkened, and she looked toward the hallway as if afraid something might be listening. Then she leaned forward. "Before I tell you, I need you to promise something." Daniel frowned. "What?" "Whatever you're here tonight," she said slowly, "you protect the boys first. Even if it means leaving this house. Even if it means running." His heart thudded painfully. "Amelia, what are you talking about?" She reached across the table and gently placed her hand over his. Her touch was warm, steady, strangely grounding in the chaos of the night. "Daniel, your parents didn't leave because they wanted to," she whispered. "They left because they had to. And they left because of something connected to you." He stared at her, breath stuck in his throat. "Because of me." "What do you mean, because of me?" Amelia swallowed hard. She squeezed his hand, her thumb brushing lightly over his knuckles, a tender gesture that made his heart clench. Your mother trusted you with the boys, Amelia said softly. And she trusted you with the truth. But the truth is going to hurt. Daniel felt the room tilt. What truth? He asked. Amelia's voice dropped to a whisper. The real reason your family disappeared tonight begins with something you did years ago. Something you forgot. Daniel's blood turned cold. What did I do? He whispered. Amelia took a breath that trembled on the way out. You opened a door, she said. And now everything you know is at risk. The kitchen lights flickered. The house seemed to hold its breath again. Daniel couldn't move. He sat at the kitchen table, staring at Amelia's hand over his. Her touch was grounding, yet terrifying. The weight of what she said pressed into him like snow piling on a roof, threatening to collapse everything he thought he knew. A door he had opened years ago, a memory he barely remembered, was now tied to the disappearance of his parents, his siblings, and the safety of his nephews. The thought made him shiver, even though the house was warm. Amelia pulled her hand back slowly, leaving a faint warmth lingering on his skin. She stared at him with eyes full of fear and something else he couldn't name. Something softer, something intimate, something almost tender. She looked like someone who had lived through too much, carried a secret too heavy for one person to bear alone, and now trusted him enough to share it. Daniel swallowed. You need to tell me now. I can't. My family isn't here. I have 3 kids depending on me. I need to know what's going on. Amelia nodded. Her jaw tightened. You're right. You need to know. But I need you to promise whatever happens, you don't panic. You protect the boys. Even if everything else falls apart. I promise. Daniel said, though the word felt hollow. How could he promise that when he didn't even understand what danger they were in? Amelia took a deep breath, gathering herself like a soldier before battle. Years ago, your father found evidence of a betrayal within your extended family. Something they tried to hide. Something dangerous. He discovered it by accident, and it involved people who would do anything to keep it secret, including hurting anyone who got too close. Daniel's mind raced. Dangerous people, secrets, betrayal. His family was never involved in anything like that, at least nothing he knew about. Why are we just finding out now? Why would they leave without telling anyone? Amelia shook her head. Because it wasn't safe, and you weren't ready to know. But tonight, they had no choice. The boys were home. You were here. And everything came to a head. They had to leave to protect you, them, and themselves. They trusted me to guide you through what's next. Daniel's head spun. Guide me? What do you mean? I mean, Amelia said slowly, that the people who threaten your family might come tonight. They might come here to this house. And you'll need to be ready. You'll need to make decisions your parents trusted you to make. He felt the weight of her words like stones pressing on his chest. He looked back at the living room where the boys were asleep, curled under blankets. They were so innocent, so unaware of the danger looming over them. And he realized something terrifying tonight. He was the adult. Tonight, he was the protector. His parents had vanished into shadows, leaving him in charge. Daniel exhaled slowly. All right, he said, finally. Then tell me everything. Every detail. I need it. I can't guess. Amelia nodded and leaned back in her chair. She was silent for a long moment, gathering the pieces in her mind. Your father discovered a set of documents. Legal documents. Evidence that could destroy a powerful business your uncle's side of the family. He found proof of embezzlement, threats, and a series of mistakes your family never wanted revealed. Your parents tried to destroy the evidence, protect themselves, and shield you and the boys. But someone found out? They know your father found it, and they will come after it and after anyone connected. Daniel's stomach dropped. His uncle. The uncle he had visited every summer. The man who always made jokes and gave him candy. Dangerous. He shook his head. How could anyone think my family would? Why would they? Because they're ruthless, Amelia said quietly. And they will stop at nothing. Daniel's chest tightened. The snow outside seemed colder somehow. The house, quiet moments ago, felt fragile. He looked at Amelia, seeing fear and determination in her eyes. Somehow she was calm under pressure, more calm than he was. Her presence was grounding, and for some reason, he felt an unexpected pull toward her. She wasn't his family, but she was his ally. She was strength wrapped in vulnerability, and he couldn't ignore that small, unfamiliar warmth inside him. He rubbed his face. So, my parents left. They disappeared. The boys are here. And tonight, the danger might reach this house. And I'm supposed to keep everyone safe. His voice broke slightly. That's it. Amelia nodded. That's it. Daniel's mind raced. What did he need? Weapons? Phones? He had none of the tools she hinted at, none of the knowledge. His heart pounded, but he forced himself to breathe. He couldn't let panic take over. The boys depended on him. His parents had trusted him. And Amelia. She was counting on him, too. He rose from the chair. All right. First, we secure the house. Lock every door, check every window. Then we stay upstairs with the kids. If anyone comes, we're ready. Amelia nodded approvingly. Good. That's the first step. The two of them moved quickly through the house, Daniel feeling a strange thrill at the rush of action. They double-checked doors, bolted windows, and even found a few old baseball bats in the closet. Not ideal weapons, but better than nothing. Amelia helped him stay calm, her hands sometimes brushing his arm as they moved from room to room. Each touch made his heart skip in a way he didn't fully understand. Yet amidst the tension, it was oddly comforting. By the time the boys were asleep, Daniel and Amelia were in the living room again. The clock ticked loudly in the quiet house, marking the moments until whatever was coming arrived. The snow had stopped, leaving the yard a sheet of untouched white. The silence outside made Daniel's nerves scream. He turned to Amelia. Tell me more. Who are they exactly? What do they want? How many? She shook her head. I don't know exactly, but they're organized, careful, and they're connected to your uncle. They want the documents. They want your family gone or at least quiet until no one can reveal the truth. That's why your parents left. That's why I'm here. They couldn't leave the boys alone without someone to help. Daniel's stomach sank further. So it's all on me tonight, and no one can call for help. No one will come until it's too late. Amelia didn't answer. She just looked at him, and her gaze held a mixture of sympathy and something else, something unspoken. Her face was close enough that he could see the faint warmth in her cheeks, the way her lips trembled slightly, and for a moment, the chaos and fear faded just enough for him to notice her presence in a different way. There was danger in the room, yes, but there was also connection. A subtle, slow, electric pull between them. He swallowed hard, trying to push the thought aside. Focus, the boys, the house, the danger. That's all that mattered. Then they heard it. A soft sound from outside. Footsteps on the porch. Daniel's breath caught. His heart hammered in his chest. He motioned to Amelia. She nodded. Quietly, they crept to the front window, peeking through the blinds. Shadows moved outside. Figures cloaked in dark coats, cautious, careful. They had arrived. Daniel felt adrenaline surge. This was real. This was happening. His parents' fears were not imagined. Their disappearance, the boys' fear, Amelia's arrival, it all led to this moment. He turned to her. What do we do? Amelia's hand found his again, firm this time, grounding him. We wait. We watch, and if they enter, we protect the boys first, no matter what. He nodded, gripping the bat they had found earlier. The warmth of Amelia's hand in his, the weight of responsibility, and the quiet determination in her eyes steeled him. He realized something strange. Amidst the fear and chaos, he was not alone. And that knowledge, small, fleeting, yet powerful, gave him courage. The shadows moved closer to the house. The snow outside reflected the faint light from the porch, revealing two figures approaching the front door. Daniel's breath caught. The moment of truth had arrived. Amelia whispered, "Stay calm. Focus." He nodded again, gripping the bat tightly, heart racing. He watched, ready for the moment when he would have to act. The clock ticked. The night held its breath. The house was silent except for the faint sound of the sleeping boys. And Daniel realized nothing would ever be the same after tonight. This was no longer just a Christmas. This was the night that would change everything for his family, for him and for the unexpected bond forming between him and Amelia. The first shadow reached for the door handle. Daniel tightened his grip. Amelia's gaze met his steady, fierce, protective. They were ready. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The night had begun, and nothing would ever be the same.